Hi, I'm Amy Lee Miller. Welcome to Empower Hour topic sessions. Today, I'm really excited because I love talking about this topic. Heed your intuition, hone your focus. So, what do I mean by that? And then, how does it apply to all areas, life, the hiring process, if you're a hiring manager, your job search interview process, if you're a candidate, or your career direction in general, whether you are just getting started in your career, trying to figure out what it is you really want to do that's going to feel purposeful and meaningful to you. Or maybe if you are an established professional in your space and you want to change the direction, how can you employ your intuition to better hone your focus? So that's the topic today. Heed your intuition, hone your focus. That's my little term that I coined myself. I like it so much that I put it on my business card. So what do I mean by that? By definition, first, let's back it up a little bit. As a writer, I love words. I will often look up their meaning, even when I already know what it is, because I usually learn something, as is the case with fear versus intuition. Because when you're not following your instincts, you're following fear. So here's what I mean by that. And then we'll get into how to apply this concept to help you. So by definition, intuition is the immediate, let's see, now I'm getting them confused because I'm just too excited. So I'm thinking and talking too quickly. But by definition, intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. I coach on this concept in almost every one of my coaching calls, and I also bring it into my hiring coaching and consulting, and I'll tell you why, but getting ahead of myself. So by definition, again, write this down or look it up in the dictionary and write it down later. Your intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. And fear, on the other hand, is an unpleasant emotion. This is straight from the dictionary. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that something is likely to cause pain. So by definition, fear takes a moment longer, not a lot of moments longer. It happens super quick, but your instinct, your intuition happens immediately. And that's because it's built in to keep us safe, protected, and alive. So if your instincts are strong enough to do that, my question for you is, couldn't they also be strong enough to guide you in the right direction for you? Whether it is in your hiring process with a candidate, whether it is with a job interview, or your career direction in general. This is something I'm pretty gifted in. My instincts are so strong that I will literally go into fight or flight mode like that. My heart will start racing if a boundary is crossed, if I'm talking to a candidate that's not a fit, if somebody's pressing my buttons. Now in my and then also, career direction, my energy will just completely sink around something I don't want to do. Or with a social gathering, if I really don't want to go, it's like my body just stops me. It's like there's a wall there. So that's what I mean when I say my instincts, are super strong. And when I follow them, as I have career-wise, then I go in the right direction. So that has served me really well. But there have been, I'm not perfect. We all have challenges. And there have been many areas in my past where I didn't follow my instincts in my personal life, and it caused lots of problems. So okay, so let's talk about a couple different specific examples. So if you are a hiring manager, how can you employ this concept, heed your instincts to hone your focus in the hiring process? Often whenever a hiring manager reaches out to me for my help recruiting for an opening, of course, I'm going to ask, why is the position open? And when they let me know that the last individual was only in the role for about a year, they'll of course, share, why that was. And usually the reason is because it was a bad hire. Now, why was it a bad hire? Usually it's because they didn't listen to their instincts. Most of the time, the hiring manager will tell me that they had a concern, they had a hesitation, they had a gut instinct feeling, excuse me, about this candidate. For whatever reason, they went ahead with the hire. So what can you do in order to better heed your instincts to hone your focus? And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say if you're a hiring manager and you're having hesitation, pause with a candidate, what can you do? Listen to your instincts to let that guide your next step. It doesn't mean you have to pass on the candidate. It doesn't mean that it's a no. It just is your instincts, that unpleasant emotion that happens first before the fear kicks in a moment after. Well, what if I don't find another candidate? Well, we need to hire by this hiring date. Well, I'm getting pressure from above to hire. My higher up likes this candidate, but I've got a feeling that it's maybe not the right fit. Use that feeling to guide your direction, which just means to create another step in the interview process, a step that will directly address that issue. It's much better to elongate the interview process than it is to get the wrong candidate in place. And then a year later, or worse, even less time than that, you learn that it wasn't the right hire, because then what happens, in addition to the hundreds of thousands of dollars lost in investing in a bad hire, well, now maybe you have some disgruntled customers, or maybe that relationship is not as strong. And chances are, if you have the wrong fit on the team, it's affecting the team, if you are hiring in a team kind of atmosphere. So all kinds of challenges come from making the wrong hire. So one way that you can improve your hiring stats is to follow your instincts. So pay attention. If your higher up, for example, really wants to hire this candidate, talk with them about your gut instinct. Trust yourself. You're in a leadership role for a reason. And again, it doesn't have to be a no, but hey, can we add in a couple additional steps here? And the same goes for if you are a candidate and you are going through the interview process, you want to pay attention to your emotions, because I'll talk with candidates too, on the other end, who accepted a role and a year later they're looking. And that's very stressful to change your life, that area of your life, career, what we're doing for our work is very big. And when you have a lot of movement, of course, that doesn't, look great on a resume. And if you have too much of that movement, well, your next interview process, of course, they might ask you, did you have, why all of the movement here? They might, question, did you have an instinct there that you ignored? They're not going to put it in that way, but likely they're going to question, are you following your instincts here? Because why did you not know, or did you know? And I'll ask candidates this, was there maybe a sign? Did you have an instinct or hesitation in interviewing for that role? And almost always, if not always, there was one. So there are signs. Your instincts are showing up for a reason, and you want to follow your instincts. Of course, you're going to employ logic too, but how can you recognize and use a little trick to better heed your instincts to then hone your focus? And what I mean by that is help you discern your direction, which way you want to go, towards something or away from something. Yes, this feels like the right fit. Yes, this feels like the right job or the right candidate. No, something about this is feeling all wrong. It's when we ignore or don't get curious enough about those twinges of, that we can end up getting ourselves into trouble, making the wrong hire, choosing the wrong role. So you just, pay attention to your emotions. Your intuition is speaking to you through your emotions. So just get more curious there. If you're having around that first emotion, pay attention to the order. Pay attention to how you're feeling, and then pay attention to the order of your emotions. And you always want to lead with your intuition and let your logic follow. And then that's going to take you in the right direction. And why that becomes challenging and can become a pattern if we repeat the action often enough of not heeding our intuition and instead going in the direction of fear. Why it's challenging is because of fear. Fear that we won't get another opportunity, fear that we won't meet anybody else, kind of thing. But you got to trust your instincts. They're guiding you. Maybe there's the right person, the right opportunity, the right candidate right around the corner for you. Let's see what else. I went through that pretty quick. I think that's about maybe that's about it for this one. I guess the other thing would be, I talk about curiosity a lot too, but that's another way that you can employ your when you heed your instincts, you can better hone your focus. So again, your instincts are speaking to you through your emotions. So if you get an idea about something that you're curious about or something that excites you, maybe career direction, maybe a candidate, maybe just something, a new pastime, that you want to research or try, that is showing up for a reason. So I challenge you to get a little bit more curious about that, go in that, and that'll lead you to your next direction. Maybe it's to sign up for a class. Maybe it's to reach out to a hiring manager, connect with somebody at the company. There's so much power in heeding your intuition. And again, I can tell you, I can think back to so many times, the times where I did employ my instincts and go in that direction, and that led to a super positive outcome for me. And then I can think of times where there was a moment where my heart dropped into my stomach. I ignored it out of fear. So that was my first emotion. Get out of here, go another way, ignored the emotion, and then ended up in, very unhappy times for a long time. but that's okay. I learned from it, and so now it's something that I can teach others. So hope that helped. And if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to share, reach out, and I will see you next week.